This conference will now be recorded.
Hey there, it's Trisha with Easy E-mini Trade, and I just want to show you an entry that I took today in the room using an alternate entry chart because I wasn't getting an entry on my smaller chart. So I'm going to show you, and I hope that you find it helpful.
This conference will now be recorded.
So what you're looking at is the NQ on a 5 range chart, and generally I'll start out on the NQ 5 range chart, and then if the market's too whippy and fast, then I'll switch to a larger chart and take entries off a larger chart. So this morning, this is around 9:34 this morning, and I have my area that I don't like to trade around the round number unless I know it's just sideways. So we come up to resistance here at the 74.05 area, and I have divergence off that area, but it's too early for me to attempt to short off of that just because it's 5 minutes into the open. This is our first test of this area after the open at 9:30. So I just wasn't too trusting of it. And then also, like I said, this area that you see shaded, I'll generally stay away from unless price establishes that it's just going sideways in there. I've been burned too many times around the round number, so I just don't even mess with it generally anymore. Unless I happen to already be in the trade. So once we broke down under the 96 area here, the bottom of my no zone, I'm looking for an entry. Now, for the Slinky, I would want my higher time frame filter chart to match, and I don't have that up here, but it did not confirm for this short here, so I had to pass on it. So even though it, dropped big, didn't even, hardly hesitate around Friday's close here, or a couple of the other reference areas. It didn't fit my rules to get in. So what I wound up having to do was wait for a retracement.
This conference will now be recorded.
So you can see here, we do get a retracement, and this happened really quickly, so I didn't even get to take this, but it retraced up to the 90 EMA, and I got divergence to the downside, and it happened really quickly, so I couldn't even, get my order in fast enough, which, happens sometimes when you're trading off this small of a chart. So like I said earlier, I'm willing to look at a larger chart. Then we, chop sideways here. Again, if you're using a larger filter chart, this short here would not have agreed, I don't think, or if it did, we did have support below, and then the same here with the buy, and then this area here, same thing. Right here, we do get a short setup and support pretty close. So if you took it, it did manage to work out. You got more than you bargained for. If you look at it on like a 5-minute chart or even a 2-minute chart, you could see that we were consolidating sideways. So you definitely got more than you bargained for out of that. What I did was, I had to just let it go at this point because I already missed the entry. And keep in mind that ES and YM at this stage we're moving higher into Friday's high and YM into the high of the day. So we definitely have conflicting information. So once it broke down here under the pivot point again, if it wasn't valid, I had to pass on it. So what I did was I wound up looking at it on a 10 range chart, and that was, that's my filter for the entries off the 5-minute, excuse me, off the 5 range. So when it retraced up here to the pivot point, I do have the super trend on the larger chart, and the settings on those are the same as the entry chart. They're all set at 3. So I was able to actually take this, on the 10 range chart in the area that I wanted to. If I was looking at the 4 range, or excuse me, 5 range, and I had, possibly some divergence off that area there, then, maybe I could take it short, but I really didn't have what I needed there. So that's why I opted to get in off the 10 range, which would have been.
This conference will now be recorded.
So looking at it on the 5 range around that pivot point, I didn't really have an entry to short under that area, but off the 10 range, like I said, I had an entry that got me in under all of the congestion, right here. So that's where I was able to enter. And then, you can just wait for a retracement off, the 5 range, and then, see what areas are holding. We did get a bounce off the 64.50 spot, and NQ this morning, didn't, actually hold up on any of the support areas. It was easily able to get through a lot of them. So on this retracement up here to this general area that was resistance now, right? Because this was now support, where you have this little swing low right here. So if you take a retracement, assuming that's going to be resistance, then you have to at least look to the last area of support as the possible hiccup area. And you can see that it didn't even hesitate there. So, definitely a lot of swings back and forth on NQ this morning. But if the chart that you're looking at is too fast, just use something bigger. So that is the moral of the story. Okay, you guys, have a great day, and we'll chat with you later.